For our next extra credit, we need to remount an error boundary. What is that all about? Well, actually, we have a bug, and this is going to help us fix our bug. So if I click on Pikachu here, we're going to get Pikachu's data. And then if I make a typo or something, we're going to get that error. That is what we just added with our error boundary. But then if I try to enter a valid Pokemon, that valid Pokemon does not get loaded. What is going on? So let's go ahead and pull up our network tab because we should be loading that. We do have that error that's expected here. And if we look at our network tab and I click on Charizard, we're not even making the request to get that data. So why is that happening? Well, let's take a look at the process that happens when we click on one of these after there's been an error. Okay, so we start out with no Pokemon here. We render this Pokemon info with the error boundary. And so first we're going to go to this error boundary. We have no error at the beginning. And so because of that, we're going to render the children. And then we get our Pokemon info rendered here. Now, when there is an error in loading that data, we're going to trigger a re-render of this component here. And that will eventually flow down into here where we throw this error, which then React will come down here and say, oh, you threw an error in the Pokemon info. So let me work my way up the tree to find the nearest error boundary. Here it is. So let me go to that error boundary and it implements getDerivedState from error. So I'm going to pass it the error and then it can update its own state. I'll trigger a re-render on the error boundary and we get that error from the state. And if that error exists, which it does now, we're going to render the fallback component. So great, that's the state that we're in when we see the error. So then when the user goes and clicks on a new Pokemon name, then we get this set Pokemon name here. We get a re-render of our app component. We come down here, we say, hey, error boundary, I'm re-rendering you, and I'm passing this Pokemon info as the children, and that has a new Pokemon name. So the error boundary comes up here and it's like, okay, let me re-render, and oh, I've still got error state. And so I'm going to return the fallback component again. I'm not going to return the children. So you see the problem? The problem is that we need to have some mechanism to reset the state for our error boundary so that it no longer has the error. Now, there are various ways that we could do this by modifying the error boundary itself, but the first way that I want to show you is actually by using the key prop. Now, this is not something you're going to do a lot, but you do run into this occasionally where you want to reset the state of a particular component, and using the key prop is a relatively okay way to do this. So here we're going to say key, and this needs to be some unique identifier. So anytime we want this error boundary to be unmounted from the page and then remounted or ultimately reset, we need to pass a new unique key. Now we could manage some state for that, but we actually are managing some state already in the Pokemon name. So when the Pokemon name changes, then we can reset the error boundary. So here we'll go Pokemon name. We'll save this. And now if I go Pikachu, we're going to get our Pikachu right here. If I misspell Pikachu, then we're going to get our error state. And then if I go to Charizard, then Charizard gets loaded. And every time I change that Pokemon name and submit that, we're going to unmount and remount the error boundary. So in review, all that we did here, actually, it seemed like a lot, but it wasn't. All we did was add this key prop, based it on the Pokemon name, and now the error boundary gets reset anytime the Pokemon name changes. So as the user makes changes to their Pokemon selection, we are able to re-render with the Pokemon info. And again, this is not something that you're going to do a whole lot using the key prop to reset the instance of a component, but it's a nice trick to have up your sleeve every now and then.